when I say I'm here with Kev, I think that it really entails us, managing this franchise together alongside Joe and Sean and just our group of family members that we have in our locker room, in our organization. So it's not just about me and Kev. I don't want to make it just about that. We're cornerstones here, but we have a few other guys that are on contract, and I think we just got to make some moves this offseason.
I mean, really?
What do you?
Here's the thing.
What do you want him to say?
Brew.
Not
I don't know. Not
that.
Give himself a promotion to co-general manager. How about that? Kyrie Irving started his Nets tenure assigning himself assistant head coach. And after an all-time flame out of a season, terrible postseason, so much commotion, if you will, caused directly by him, he surveyed the landscape and was like, you know what? I think I deserve a raise and a promotion. I'm going to get more money, more years, and a better title. That's what he's doing. He's like, I'm going to opt out. I'm going to get the long-term deal, and I'm going to help build the roster. Kyrie, I've watched all of his press conferences, and he actually, Brew, seemed sincere. And I want to meet him halfway. But he is so delusional about his complicity in this, about his responsibility to the Nets, what it is, and more importantly, what it isn't, and where he is in the basketball universe. And some of that's not his fault because he gets inflated by a lot of prominent people in the basketball universe. Kyrie Irving's offseason does not need to be spent scouring trade exceptions. It needs to be spent figuring out how he can play 60 games and have at least 30 of them come with some decent defense. That's what it needs to be spent doing. He needs to have a long conversation with himself and say, how come I haven't had a single memorable, positive postseason moment without being on LeBron James's team? Like, how can I make sure the final act of my career has something other than headlines for something goofy I said about the shape of the earth, the efficacy of the vaccines, or being voice for voiceless by never speaking? And instead he's like, well, let me tell you, I've been scouring rivals, and I think I know what we need to do with our second round pick. It's so ridiculous. And it's just delusional. He's delusional, Brew.
You guys heard me yesterday. What did I say? I said, Nets, if you're a Nets fan or executive, you have to hope that this playoff series humbled Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. All right, because they think, both of them, they think that they see the game of basketball in some higher, secret, esoteric way that no one else understands. They really believe that.
That's correct.
And I hoped and I thought that this series would humble them. And that quote from Kyrie, as much as I'd love to defend him, I can't. I can't defend you sitting up there talking about me and Kevin are going to manage the team along with the owner and the coach? What? Or the GM?
No, and the GM.
What?
Yeah.
Here's the decision-making This is what's on their resume. Kevin Durant chose Steve Nash as coach. Kevin Durant left Steph Curry in Golden State, where who knows how many more championships they could have won, to join Kyrie and go to Brooklyn. And then Kyrie's resume has you left LeBron James. You guys may have won a championship or two after that, to go to Boston where that didn't work out, where you left there and they're better without you. Kyrie is better than Marcus Smart. Kyrie is an awesome player, but the Celtics Wilds are better without him because Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum would not have emerged as what they are if Kyrie were there. And this is what the Nets need to do. They need to sit down this offseason, maybe the day whenever they do their exit meetings, or maybe even after that, and tell Kyrie, you should opt into the final year of your deal. You're making $36 million,
good luck.
Next season. You should opt in. Because if you don't, we're not paying you more. We're not giving you a long-term contract. We're paying you about the same, $36 million a year, for 1 year. And if Kyrie doesn't like it, where's his leverage? I'm serious. First of all, he killed whatever leverage he had yesterday by saying, I want to stay here. I don't want to go anywhere. That wasn't a revelation because every team in the league knows Kyrie wants to stay in Brooklyn. But even if he didn't necessarily want to stay in Brooklyn, teams are leery of him because of his unreliability. Back 3 years ago when he and KD went to Brooklyn, there were teams that were like, we're not going to sign Kyrie unless we have to get Kevin Durant. There were teams that didn't want Kyrie by himself. And I don't know any team that would give him a long-term contract. And then if we sign him, first of all, there's all the baggage from the past, him just missing games for whatever reason, the injury history, all the other stuff. And then if he doesn't want to be here, how much more of an issue will all of that be? How many more weeks will he take off for private reasons? How many more times will he miss for some, catastrophe that happens somewhere on the earth? I mean, I don't think he has much leverage because I don't know another team that's going to go give him a max deal. And he said he does want to stay in Brooklyn. So I'm serious. If I'm the Nets, that's what I'm dealing with. And if Kevin Durant doesn't like it, tough. And if you want to pout and be like James Harden, we'll deal with that too. Because this is 3 years of these two running the franchise wilds, and we haven't gotten past the second round.
And it's been terrible.
So the Nets need to take control of their franchise.
So, Broussard, you did not like the quotes. That's what you're saying. That's what you're saying there. Not a fan of the quotes. Can I just give a quick defense of Kyrie Irving, Nick? We see so many guys just be sort of halfway in, halfway out. Kyrie being one of those guys, where it's like, the game, it's just basketball. We've heard him say that. He showed, hey, I'm all in. And I know all of Kyrie's press conferences are a little bit like an optical illusion. Like, do I see an old lady or do I see a young woman? It's like it's always this weird thing. But I viewed this press conference as like, well, this guy said he is all in, wants the team to get better, and admitted that his vaccine hesitancy was a distraction and he felt bad about that. I had never heard him say that before. So I thought that maybe you could see a little bit of growth from Kyrie. We're like, this guy's all in, locked in, and getting better. Maybe I'm too optimistic.
Wilds, in one of your many executive leadership seminars, you ever done an escape room?
Yes.
Have you ever done an escape room?
Yes.
Okay. So the worst, you can win an escape room with the guy who's there, hey, we need a tall guy in case he needs to reach something. If he's totally apathetic and really not interested and just like, hey, buddy, grab that for us, you can be fine. But if the tall guy who has no idea what he's doing tries to take control, he's like, guys, I'm going to solve it. Give me the keys. I've got it. You're going to be stuck in room one forever. Kyrie Irving doesn't know why he's there. He is there to score the basketball. That's it. He is not there to consult on coaching. He is not there to consult on the roster. He is not there to opine about the ails of the world. He can do that on his own time. God love him for it. He doesn't understand what his job is. And because of that, and because of the lack of reliability, when we did my pyramid back in February, one of the things the internet got the most mad at me about was I had Drew Holiday ahead of Kyrie Irving. I will take Drew Holiday on my team at point guard every day of the week. He's a better player. The skill and bag and all that stuff is so overrated. Do you contribute to winning?
Player.
Do you?
He's a more reliable player. He's a more reliable player.
But that makes you better.
Kyrie is his own worst enemy. That's it. Don't
Okay.
disrespect Kyrie like he can't play. Kyrie is his
No.
own worst enemy. Only player that can stop Kyrie is Kyrie, but he does it a lot.
Brew, let me ask you a question. So, Brew, I've said this before and I'll say it again. I think that this show right now is the best it's ever been. And as far as people in that seat, you're my best teammate ever. You know how I feel about you, right? If you miss 2 shows a week, you wouldn't be. I wouldn't be like, no, Brew's the best. It's like, well, if you miss 2 shows a week and a couple times a month, you were just aggressive, like refused to speak. It's like, God, doggy. Well, when Brew's here, he's good. Then you wouldn't be the best. You wouldn't be great. Like, so this idea that we're 11 years into a career, a guy is not reliable. He is not consistent. He is not a leader. None of those things. And we're like, oh, but he's still better than a guy like Drew Holiday. No, he's not. He's more skilled than Drew Holiday.
Well,
but he is not a better component of winning basketball.
The only thing, Nick, is Drew has had similar issues, not with the zaniness, but Drew had his injury problems throughout his history. So, and I just said, look, Marcus Smart isn't better than Kyrie, but the Celtics are better off without Kyrie at point guard. So I hear what you're saying as far as a fit or whatever, but an individual player, and you know this, you've been doing the top 50 players of the last 50 years. There are predecessors for Kyrie Irving. All right, Pistol Pete Maravich didn't win. A lot of teams got better when he left and worse when he got there. So there are other predecessors. Kyrie is going to be in that group. Iconic, legendary, terrific individual player, exciting.